Even someone as strong as Ansaltic still has a weak spot when it comes to naming things. Not long ago, Ansaltic launched a tool called Cloud Cowork Agent. The name sounds pretty straightforward, like an ordinary collaboration software, but when it comes to actually getting things done, it's anything but ordinary. I think it's at least like an assistant earning 8,000 yuan a month who never complains, and it's a foolproof agent. It's extremely easy to get started, so easy that you'll know how to use it just by watching this video. Some of you might be wondering, what's the difference between Cloud, Cloud Code, and Cloud Cowork in this family? I could give you a long-winded answer to that question, but today I want to introduce it to you in a different way. You can think of Ansaltic, this AI giant, as a restaurant group that offers 3 different types of services. Cloud is like dining in. You sit down, pick something from the menu, the waiter brings it to you, and you have a pleasant back-and-forth conversation. But you still have to eat it yourself. Cloud Code is like having direct access to the kitchen. You can rush in and tell the chef, I want a burger, I want fried chicken. The chef will make exactly what you ask for. But if you want to tell the chef to turn up the heat, you need to know the lingo. In other words, only command lines and code can get Cloud Code to cook up good code. Cloud Cowork is more like a butler-style assistant who breaks down tasks and gets the job done all by themselves. All you have to do is lounge on the couch and say, help me make the PowerPoint, help me finish the research report, and while you're at it, organize my reimbursements. You don't need to learn command lines or study parameters. Just clearly state what you need, and it'll handle all the tedious and tough work for you, then deliver the results back to you. You can think of Cloud Cowork as Ansaltic, turning what used to be a power user-oriented agent into a desktop assistant that even non-technical users can use right away. Whether you're in marketing, a product manager, sales, or a lawyer. The basic features work right out of the box. If you don't believe it, just watch. We open the Cloud desktop client, click on Cowork in the middle, and you can use it immediately. It's really that simple. But just because Cowork works out of the box doesn't mean it understands you right away. A safer approach is to first give it a dedicated work folder, so it only operates within that space. Next, add a set of documentation instructions. This has 2 benefits. First, the access scope is clearer and more secure. Second, it's easier for it to produce content that matches your habits, style, and standards. I personally recommend these 3 instruction documents: About Me, Voice and Style, and Working Roles. About Me is for letting Cowork know who you are, what your profession is, and what your workflow looks like. Voice and Style covers what kind of tone, style, and format you like and what you dislike. Working Roles is where Cowork sets behavioral boundaries, what it can and cannot do. These aren't official requirements, these are templates I created myself, and they're the setup I found works best for getting Cowork up to speed quickly. When people see these markdown documents, a lot of folks' first reaction is, oh no, do I have to write all these docs myself again? Don't worry, let's just have Cloud handle this task for us. All you need to do is send this prompt to Cloud and let it interview you. It'll ask you a few basic questions, and the whole process takes about 5 to 10 minutes. Then it will automatically generate these 2 files for you. Just download them and replace the corresponding files in the template. For the next part, Working Roles, we'll have Cowork write it. That's because Working Roles needs to be determined based on your About Me and Voice and Style files. So it's more suitable to let Cowork, which can already read local files, handle it. You can use what I just said to communicate with Cloud. Once that's done, just follow the same steps as before to download them and replace the corresponding files in the template. But there's a small detail here that a lot of people tend to overlook. In the Cowork settings, there's a global instruction settings file. You can click Edit here. This is where you need to set up the steps Cowork should follow at the start of each task. You can follow my template for this. It's universal. Then click Save, and from now on, every time you have Cowork do something, it will follow the rules set in these global instructions first. At this point, Cowork already understands you very well, but just understanding you isn't enough. It also needs some skills tailored to your position, so we need to assign it a skill pack and choose Custom. Click the plus sign on the left and you'll see a plugin directory. It contains plugins released by Ansaltic and third-party companies like PDF, Brand Voice, Design Productivity, Data Finance, and so on. Click the plus sign in the upper right corner and the installation will be complete. I've installed these 4 plugins. When we're installing plugins, you'll notice there are also connectors and skills next to them. So what's the difference between these 3? Plugins are more like a complete professional toolbox. They bundle together related skills, connectors, and even subagents. When you install a plugin, it's like installing an entire workflow at once. Skills are a task package that tells Cowork how to accomplish a specific task. Connectors are tool connectors that allow Cowork to link up with external tools like Notion, Gmail, Figma, and so on. At this point, the basic setup for Cloud Cowork is done. Next, we can go back to the homepage and let it get to work. I have a downloads folder that's a total mess with hundreds of files piled up. I wanted to help me organize them. Just select the folder, give it a briefs, and it gets started right away. It'll ask you how you want to organize these files. Because I had selected other folders before, it also asks me which one I actually want to organize. It lists out the entire process as it works, showing what it's doing at each step. It took just 5 minutes to organize over 500 files, and it even generated a report based on category, quantity, size, and time. As an AI blogger, I think this feature is just amazing. Since I'm always generating AI images and videos, I end up downloading them and just leaving them there. Now, with Cloud Cowork, I never have to worry about these little chores again. You can also have it handle scheduled tasks. Just tell it what you need and when, and it'll quietly take care of it in the background. As long as your computer's awake and Cloud Desktop is running, it'll deliver your tasks on time. You might think that any competent assistant could handle those 2 tasks I just mentioned, so does it have any advanced skills? Yes, it does. I found that it's actually pretty good at making PowerPoint presentations. Not only can it edit them directly, but its sense of aesthetics is on point too. I picked up a book about Elon Musk and had it generate a PPT about Musk's highlight moments. If it ran into any issues along the way, it would proactively fix them. Once it's done, you can export it directly to Google Slides or WPS, and you can also find it in your local folders. Let's take a look at its layout and color scheme. It really has that minimalist, high-end, international vibe. Plus, you can change anything you want, text, colors, whatever you like. The most common situation when making a PPT is that, say we have company introductions or brand presentations on hand, and we need to create a PPT based on these materials. That's where Cowork's advantage really shines. It can read local files directly, so you don't have to manually upload and go back and forth. The content it generates is also highly customized, unique to your PPT, so at the very least, your boss won't immediately spot that it was made by AI. From here, we can take it a step further. If you put in your weekly work results, it can directly generate a draft of your weekly report. Your flight and hotel invoices, meal receipts, it can also organize them into a spreadsheet. As for things like meeting minutes or review reports, those are even easier. No big deal at all. No matter what the task is, you can handle it with my all-purpose golden rule. First, gather all the materials and background information in a folder, then give it a clear task instruction, along with the appropriate plugins and skills. Based on my tests, the success rate is much higher than OpenCloud. So at this point, do you think this AI assistant is worth a monthly salary of $8,000? I actually have ways to make it even more valuable. Let me keep sharing. The first way is to split it from one AI assistant into 2, 3, or even countless assistants. The method to achieve this is actually very simple. All you need to do is create different folders, put the corresponding 3 files into each folder, and then tell it about your different work personas. For example, if you're an HR professional who handles recruitment, onboarding training for new employees, and performance evaluations, you can split these 3 roles into 3 different job personas. Put the key points for each persona into its respective folder. Whenever you need to use a particular persona, just switch to the corresponding job folder. So if you have N different personas in use and you find that the content it generates doesn't meet your needs, what should you do? In that case, you can create your own custom plugin. Click the settings icon at the bottom of the left sidebar and select Plugins. Click the plus sign next to Plugins, choose Create Plugin, and then Create with Cloud. It will guide you step by step to create your plugin. Hey, you can also write a plugin by hand or just upload a plugin from GitHub, whatever's easiest for you. Creating skills is a similar process, so I won't repeat it here. So after going through all these steps, I didn't write a single line of code or run into any technical issues. Everything could be done just by clicking around and saying a few words. And if you're not at your computer, you can even use your phone to control it and let Cowork keep working. This hardworking AI doesn't fuss about the details. You give it a task and it just gets right to work. If there's anything it doesn't understand, you can always add more instructions at any time. For non-technical roles, especially for people who do a lot of document work, this experience really feels like having an extra coworker who can take on tasks. Finally, let's talk about its drawbacks. Android even comes with a helpful reminder, and it even tells us right on the homepage how to use Cowork safely. You can put some non-confidential internal materials in there, but when it comes to core data like certain certificates or sensitive card information, those are things you absolutely can't let it see. Besides the official reminders, I also noticed that it eats up tokens really fast. Operations that involve multiple steps or long processes consume a lot of tokens, and you might easily hit the limit, so the Pro version doesn't last very long. Also, if you want it to perform scheduled tasks or control your computer from your phone, you have to make sure both the computer and the client are turned on. CalWork itself is now available for all paid plans, but features like remote task assignment from your phone are mainly available for Pro and Max users. You guys should give this low-key but capable workhorse a try.